Hey guys, Jet Setting Jen here. Happy New Year and welcome to finding the best flight deals. So, to start off, if you've never worked with a travel agent and you need help booking a trip, you can always reach out to me in my comments down below or in the description box. But let's get into it. First things first, how do we travel better, cheaper, and how do we get better flight deals? So I get this question a lot about when to book flights, how this impacts your trip, the best websites and tools to find deals. Should I book a one-way trip? Should I book a round trip? Should I, book bags now? Should I book bags later? So we're going to talk about all of these things just quickly. So first, I want to tell you guys when to book flights. This is a very loaded question. So first of all, during sale seasons, which is a great time, usually beginning of the year, if you're trying to go to Europe, like any time in the fall or the spring are usually good times, but you want to book, I would say about 3 to 4 months out. You can definitely sign up for newsletters with specific airlines if you have an idea of where you want to go. For example, you want to go to Japan, sign up for Japan Airways, or any airlines that go to Japan for their sales, for example, Japan Air, or like Korean Air. If you want to go to like Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, you can always sign up for SAS. Finnair does all of Scandinavia, just to get an idea of whose newsletters you'd want to sign up for, because once they have a sale, this is the time to go and book. Now, I would also suggest when not to book is definitely Mondays, Fridays, Sundays. From my looking over many years, these are just not great times to book. I don't know if they just inflate the prices because they're thinking, for example, on a Monday, people are sitting at work, they're bored, they're looking at flights. So when you don't clear your cookies, they are seeing that you're looking at the flights, and this is going to increase the price. So you always want to search in a private mode for flights, regardless of what website you choose to use. Now, for holidays, it's very difficult if you don't have a ton of time off for US holidays to travel domestically. So I would say book outside of those dates and book really far in advance. I would say 6 months to 8 months if you're booking actual holiday travel within the US. And you're going to have to book like a week instead of, if you just were hoping to do 2, 3 days at Christmas or New Year's, because that's the only way you're going to save money on those tickets. But that time is actually a great time to go to places like Europe or other destinations that are outside the US, because a lot of these places that you might want to go, either people are not going there or the tickets are much cheaper during that time. So with that flexibility, you can definitely unlock better pricing. So this is definitely the key, as well as traveling during the week. I know some people work on weekends or partial during the week. This is a great way to also get better pricing on your air. So now we're going to focus on what are some other things we can do to save some money. When we're traveling through air, we can of course search for other destinations and buy a connecting flight. So when we have a little bit more time or flexibility, you can use a connecting flight to, of course, get a better deal. If you've ever searched for a direct flight, for example, to a far destination like Dubai or, you know, Auckland, Sydney, these kinds of places, you can always get probably half price just for doing a stopover. There's also airlines and or countries that will take advantage, like you can take advantage of free stopovers. So what that means is if you stop over in their country, they will give you an extremely long layover so that way you can hit another country on the way to your actual destination. I can give you an example of a couple airlines that do this. Turkish Air does it, Emirates does it, Iceland Air does it. You can go directly to their website, see what the stipulations are, and book directly through them. As I always say, it's very important nowadays that you book directly with the airline. If anything happens with your flight, they're the ones who have to fix it, and they're the ones who are going to contact you directly. You never want a middle person for this. So what I mean by that is when you go online and you go to your kayak.com, your Google Flights, and these types of things, you could get a discount, but you don't have direct access to your own air booking. So this is why you want to always book directly with the airlines, and also because of this promotion that I'm talking about with the free stopovers, because it's really great and I know people have used it, and I mean it's just another way to get more things on the books for you. You can also, of course, check price predictors. So, Google Flights does this, Skyscanner does this, Kayak does this, Bing Travel does this. So they all do this where they use data from past flights, and they can, kind of, you can tell them to watch the flight for you for a specific route. So I mean, it's not a bad thing to do. What I will say is sometimes they are watching that data, keeping that data, and I don't know personally how accurate that is when they tell you to, for example, wait to buy something versus not wait. I've just kind of done it on my own. Is one-way versus round trip booking strategies. So as I mentioned before, it is cheaper to, of course, do a connection usually versus a direct flight, especially for longer destinations. However, if what if you're doing a cruise and you need to fly into one city and out of another city? I get this question a lot. Is it more expensive? Yes, it usually is. I would say, in my experience, like 80% of the time, it's more expensive to do it this way. Sometimes it actually is significantly cheaper to just book a round trip ticket to one of those destinations and then a quick hop over internal flight to bring down your overall cost for your international air. But here you really want to think about baggage, because if you have a ton of luggage, not only is that inconvenient, but now you have to worry about lugging it on three different flights. Okay, so if you're traveling light, I would say this is a good option. If you're not traveling light, I would say you're probably better off doing the one way, and just eating the additional money. Okay. Some mistakes, of course, that make flights more expensive: not adding the baggage or seats if you care about those things, and lump it into your initial flight. So a lot of airlines now are offering you different levels of service, not just main economy, premium, business, but also a basic economy or a light fare. I've seen this a lot. And what that means is you have less baggage. So if you're already going, let's say, for a week trip to one country and you don't need a checked luggage, then get the light fare. I mean, why wouldn't you do that? Not only are you saving money, time, effort, you can go to the airport, much later, because you don't have all this luggage to bring around. And on top of that, if you wait and then you're like, oh no, now I overpacked and I need to add a bag. Well, if you're already at the airport with said bag, now you're going to be paying twice as much for that bag than you would have if you just booked it with your original ticket in the first place. So this is a huge mistake I see a lot of people make that can definitely make the flight more expensive. Another thing is some people, they wait till like super last minute. I'm talking like a week, couple weeks before a trip. I mean, this is a huge mistake as well. Don't ever do that. And same, I would say, on the flip side, don't book your air out 10 months in advance. I would say that's also probably when it's going to be most expensive. So this is another tip. Hey guys, as always, thanks so much for watching, liking, and subscribing. And if you guys have any questions or got some value from this video, please go ahead and leave a comment, DM me, or feel free to email me at my business email in the description box below so we can work together. See you next Friday.